welcome to Cellular Healing TV. I'm your host, Meredith Dykstra, and this is episode number 172. We have our resident cellular healing specialist, Dr. Dan Pompa, on the line, and today we welcome very special guest, fitness expert, Kathy Smith. So super excited to have you on the show, Kathy. Before we dig in, let me tell you a little bit more about Kathy. Kathy Smith, New York Times bestselling author, has stood at the forefront of the fitness and health industries for over 30 years. They call Kathy a fitness revolutionary for a reason. From her iconic library of exercise videos to her current breakthrough healthy living app and highly ranked podcast on health, the art of living, she's always on the cutting edge of fitness trends. Kathy developed a 90-day weight loss app, Reshape. This wellness program offers downloadable workouts, food plans, shopping lists, hundreds of recipes, and is topped off with Brain Tap, a brain-based approach to enhancing focus and relaxation. She's sold more than 20 million exercise DVDs and has been featured on countless media outlets, including The Today Show, The Oprah Winfrey Show, The View, and Good Morning America. As a sought-out educational and motivational speaker, Smith has been a keynote speaker for organizations that include the American Heart Association, American Diabetes Association, Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, Edward Jones Annual Managing Partners Conference, and American College of Sports Medicine. Ageless Energy, Smith's latest TV special, aired nationally on PBS. With her 4 pillars of fitness success at any age, she inspired viewers to shift their perspectives on fitness with a series of tools for boosting energy, stamina, strength, and vitality. She's the mother of 2 daughters, Kate and Perry, and when she's not on the road, Kathy can be found usually hiking or skiing in the mountains of Park City, Utah. So welcome to Cellular Healing TV, Kathy. So excited.
So good to be here. Thanks for that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. This is could be my most favorite guest ever because I love Kathy. We've been on many hikes together, done many dinners, right, with Jeff Hayes. All of us, right? We hang out.
Have to go hike after we drink that wine, so we have to burn off.
Exactly. That's right. No, I absolutely love, and I have so much respect for Kathy. I want to start by embarrassing myself, which I do on the show all the time. Meredith will tell you that. But so one time, Kathy and I were on stage together, and Kathy, can you hear me? You're frozen right now. Did we lose her? Darn, lost her. Her connection was a little in and out, but Mark can edit this part away. Here she is. She came back.
On.
Oh, you're back. We lost you for a second.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm going to start by embarrassing myself, okay? So, and I said that Meredith will tell you I do that on the show a lot. But so anyways, I was on stage with I don't remember, I think it was at a chiropractic seminar, Kathy. But so anyways, Kathy does this leg kick. She stands up, and when I'm telling you, her legs go straight up to her face. They do. I mean, she can kick her legs better than any teenager, 20-year-old, anyone. Doesn't matter. It doesn't get any better. Okay. So I said, after she did that, everyone was like, wow. And then the next words out of my mouth were, oh, and if you just knew how old she was, that you'd be even more amazed, right? And the crowd just gasped. So, I meant it. I'm like, what do you mean? I mean, she should be proud. You should see this one. Because I just can't believe. I'm telling you, when you said 30 years in the fitness industry, you said actually your first fitness product was 4 years ago. So I will make you tell them their age. I don't care from what those people said. You need to be proud because I'm telling you, this woman not only looks amazing for any age, by the way, but she is fit, more fit than any 20, 30-year-old that I know. So Kathy, there you go. But I want to ask you this because you've been in it so long. How did you get started in this? Because you have revolutionized this industry. You have. I mean, something at your core is driving it.
Well, yeah, I remember that evening, by the way, and I remember like about 4 guys, just kicking you, like Patrick Gentempo or somebody else, like kicking you and going, those are 2 things you never ask a lady, right? How much do you weigh and what is your age or something?
I'll ask you both.
Especially when there's hundreds of people out there, and you're kind of, which I don't mind, by the way, but it was funny because everybody around you, and of course you then go beet red, like, oh. But anyway, we'll get to the age. I don't mind talking about it. I honestly think it's quite remarkable, actually. I've had such a fun journey. So, but how did I get started? You know, I was raised in the military, and we traveled around the world, moved every 3 years. And I lived, at the age of 17, we were in Belleville, Illinois. I get a call. My dad has had a massive heart attack. He was 42 and I was 17 at the time. And I was like, I was daddy's little girl. So I was the one that we did everything together. I was so bonded to my dad. So it literally raced to the hospital. He was dead on arrival. And it was one of these things that just rocked my world, as you can imagine. I stayed home with my mom, graduated high school, stayed home with my mom for a year before, and I went to college nearby, then before I went off to University of Hawaii. But during that year, my mom met somebody, and then a year later she got remarried, and then my stepdad and my mother were killed in a plane crash. So within about the time I'm 19 years old, I had lost my dad, I'd lost my mom, and my stepdad. And there I was. And again, with the timing here, I graduated high school in 69. It's now 70, 71. It was the Vietnam War. It was civil rights. It was women's rights. It was, everything that you can imagine that was going on in the country in the 70s. It was sex, drugs, rock and roll. It was Woodstock, all this. And I'm just giving you that whole landscape because here I am orphaned. And typically your parents are around to help you, direct you through like, oh, what is all this stuff? So I found myself spiraling down into a bit of like, what am I going to do with my life? What is the meaning of life? Getting depressed, anxious. I'm taking college classes, but at the same time, I can't focus. I'm feeling really dejected. And what happens is life has a way of doing this. I had a boyfriend at the time, and he was a football player, and he would go to the track with the team. And then after practicing, he would go for a run, and I would go to the track with him, not because I was thinking of training, but just because I didn't want to be alone. And I would start to run, and I would do a lap, and I would do the next lap, and then I would rest. And then I started linking these laps together. And after a few weeks, I would be leaving the track and I'm going, my God, I feel so much better. I mean, my mental attitude, I just feel like I'm going to be able to make it through this. And I started running further, and there was a doctor at the time. This was I started running, and then in 1973, let's say, there was a doctor, and his name was Dr. Scaff, and he was taking heart patients and training them to run marathons. Now, back in 1973, if you had heart disease, you were told, don't climb a flight of stairs, don't have sex, don't do anything that's going to, stimulate your heart. And there was a guy named Dr. Ken Cooper, and he was doing all the research on cardiovascular disease and exercise. And they said, no, your heart's a muscle. You need to work it. You need to get out there. So to prove it, they took these heart patients and they trained them for a marathon. And I actually trained with these guys, and I ran my first marathon in 1975. So I ran, and that was like a turning point. I used that marathon as just almost like a metaphor for life, because everything you learn in training for a marathon, including when you hit the wall, when you can't go any further, when the 18th mile, when you don't think you're going to make it, how do you use that mind over matter? And that was what got me into exercise. I mean, I'm going to continue the story, but which then what got me into the professional side of it. But that's honestly how I got turned on to this idea of exercise. And it wasn't about body. It wasn't about the body, how great your body can look. That was kind of the side benefit. It's how great your mind, the mental side of this, of how, it just took me out of the depths of depression and lifted me and gave me the confidence to finish college and go after my dreams.
Well, actually, I want to talk about that because we rarely talk about that on the show. I mean, we bring fitness people on, and we're talking about the physical benefits. I mean, not just how you look, but the cellular physical benefits. But we rarely bring it into the mind because, you know, that's something you do, because it really did take you out of depression. It really did ultimately change, you know, your mind. But before I get there, before I let you go there, I should say, you know, so how did you go? Nobody, you were the first to, you know, to my knowledge, release DVDs on exercise. And like you said, you were actually at one point, you had them on records, listening to records and doing the things on the wall. I mean, where did you come up with it? I mean, how did you fall into that?
Well, okay, so now we ran the marathon. To give you some time, and that's 75. I moved to LA, and I graduated college. I did a little bit of graduate work in Hawaii, and then I moved to LA. And there was, you know, in LA you have smog, you have cars, you know, there's all these environmental things. Running wasn't as much fun, but then I heard about, there's this one class, I really do have to put into perspective for your viewers. There were, because people say, did you always know you wanted to be a personal trainer? There weren't personal trainers, there weren't clubs that had that. So what happened there, but there was a woman who in her garage was teaching what was called, it was called Body Design by Gilda. It was just a class, and she was
Right.
teaching, and then she had moved to Century City, and it was a class that you would go to, and you would do calisthenics, which means you would do leg lifts, and you would do, you know, you would do back, we would do these arm circle things forever and ever. And in the class was Jane Fonda, Barbara Streisand, all of these, and everybody was taking this class, and it was to music, but it had no aerobic component. It was just all of these kind of doggy leg lifts and things where you, and when I say doggy, you might not know what that is, but you get on all fours and you lift your leg up and down. And it was very, you know, like what women used to do 40 years ago. And so I took that love, that love of music, that love of aerobics, and that love of this class format, and I created a class, and I started teaching in LA, and I got a really big following, and there would be people coming in, and be guys and girls, because in the class I had combinations that including jumping jacks and twists and those high kicks that you mentioned. There was all these things, and it was now we're starting to get into late 70s, and what's happening is that people are getting excited about something called health clubs. And it wasn't just, it became a very social scene. Your health club is where young people, guys and girls would get together. They would come to these classes, they would come work out, and they would come and meet each other. So it became explosively popular. It was the first time where we had these things, you know, that we worked out in called leotards, and we had headbands, and we had leg warmers.
Oh, I can see it now.
I know.
We're just evolving into the 80s. I see it
Oh,
right.
yeah, exactly. And we had things like, you know, we had things like disco and Donna Summers, like, you know, and all that music was playing in the background, and it was energizing, and it was sexy, and people, and this was where people went to, you know, get their workouts, and guys would go over the weights, the girls would go into the exercise classes, and that's where, so then what happened was there was a woman in my class who was an independent record promoter. So she was promoting all the big acts, you know, like including the Michael Jacksons and things like that. But she came to me and said, we should do an exercise album. So we put, you know, our money together. We, you know, created we created the music, which that's what's fun about my career, which people don't really understand. It's like, I did the exercise, but the first thing is you have to say, okay, you need music. How are you going to get your music? Well, how do you get music rights? You got to get your musicians. You have to create the music. We would do sound alikes, and which they would sound like a Michael Jackson song. And so we would be in the sound studio, have musicians, then my voice is saying, and imagine if you just close your eyes right now, you're not hearing me, you're not seeing me, but you're hearing me say, okay, it's time to warm up the body. Let's reach to the ceiling. Now touch your toes and round all the way back up. And then you would have a poster that you would look at, and there'd be pictures of me doing that. So I did 4 albums. That was the beginning of what's called the self-help. In the beginning of the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, it was called the self-help movement. And by the way, there's a book called The Century, And I'm in that book because, and Peter Jennings, they came from ABC to do a big, when they did in the millennium, which was in 2000, they did a big special about the different decades. And they came and interviewed me and they said, you know, what was interesting is that we went from the we generation of what I talked about earlier, which was Vietnam, civil rights, women's rights. It was all about what are we going to do to change the world? And it went to the me generation, which was, and that me generation was more about how do I look? How do I feel? How can I help myself? How do I mentally? And there's a term called collective consciousness. And when the collective consciousness of the United States and the world starts to shift, then not one, not two, but everybody starts to think about it. So people that had never thought, women who had never thought about this, now you don't have onesies or Tuesdays, you have millions of women that are walking into Target, that are walking into Walmart, that are walking, you know, because you couldn't get this stuff. There wasn't this technology. You're walking in and you're going through and you go, I want my fat burning DVD. I want my fat burning video. And they put it in and you would sell, and the numbers were staggering. And by the way, you would sell millions of these videos. And anyway, and that became, and then that got me into books. I mean, I have, you know, we mentioned the one book, but I've done, you know, I've written somewhere between 8 and 10 books and have had a few New York Times bestsellers in there. But all of that, and one more thing I'll say before I end this tirade, which is just, it's fun to talk about. But I think the main thing to think about, another thing to think about, and it's important to bear this in mind, men always had football. Men always had, when you look at my high school yearbook, and I think this is the really important fact for me. I showed it to my daughters, and you know that one of my daughters went to the Olympics this year. So
the 800 meter in the Olympics. Yep.
And the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal did an article on the two of us, because the juxtaposition of, if you look at my high school yearbook, there were no girls' sports, so there was no track there. So when there's only boys there, when you go to the sports section of your yearbook, there's, you know, 25 pages, boys football, baseball, track, golf, tennis, whatever. There was not one girl sport, because and you know, this was in Illinois, and this was not uncommon until we had something called Title IX, and Title IX is what helped. Title IX helped equal opportunity for girls in sports. And the reason, and I was part of one of the founding members with Billie Jean King of the Women's Sports Foundation, which
she was old.
which was one of I don't know. We gotta watch his languaging here. Hey, by the way, I am going to call you on this. I'm going to call you on this, and I know you need to come up with other terms, because for your audience, those are terms that are not. If I didn't have a strong sense of self, that is where, and that's my next big movement, by the way. And I know you're laughing about this, but I would like you to take it seriously, because I'm involved with a lot of movements that those terms, like it's like saying somebody's fat or something, it's really derogatory. And but it also sets, if you told your child, or you told somebody, you know, you're fat, and you told them about 10 times, you know, the mental side of this. And I only say this is what people do, and it's really destructive. I hear every single day, I'm too old for that. I can't. Yeah, but just watch it. No, I'm just saying. I'm just bear it in mind, because it is the languaging, and it is the type of reshaping that I'm part of this movement right now, and a lot of people are doing it. Are part of this movement of how do we show people how to age? This isn't old. It's just. And that's a term that's just relative. I mean, what is you know, an 18-year-old thinks a 30-year-old's old. So it's all relative.
On this show, let me frame it. On this show, we talk about cellular versus actual. And
right.
And you can actually claim your cellular age. And that's what matters.
That's what matters. Well, that's what matters. And it's also, and I don't know how you are, because I'm really excited about all the work you're doing. I think it's so amazing. It's just off the charts, like so cutting edge, and so whenever I go to these seminars around the country, this is what you talk about is, state of the art, the cutting edge side of the whole field. But what's interesting along with that, I find it fascinating, is how do people, and I think that how we perceive ourselves is, and I only say this because I've had to do this not at this age, when you were a woman and you weren't allowed, and this is where it's not joking, it's like, Catherine Switzer, who's a friend of mine, wasn't allowed to run in the Boston Marathon. And that was 50 years ago. She was dragged out because women weren't allowed. And I think younger people need to understand, because it's not that many years ago, women weren't allowed to do that. And this is why we didn't have, and even going to the Olympics this year with my daughter, if the women of our country if the women in the United States were a separate country, the women would have been third in the world as far as winning the most medals, because finally women have had this way to express themselves. And I bring it back to the fitness side. That's the thing that I found when I was teaching classes. Women would come in, and to your point, and it's not talked about, they would come in and say, and they would be crying, and they'd be saying, Kathy, it's not because I feel toned or tight, it's because I feel empowered. I didn't think I could go to work. I didn't think I could hold a job, and all this empowerment stuff that came from moving your body. And I think it's a thing that's really underestimated in some of the stuff where it's like, oh, you want to look good in the bikini. No, you want to feel good about your life and about your sexuality and about your job and feeling empowered. And that was, so just to, I know I digressed a bit, but that was my whole, throughout my entire career. I think it's one of the reasons why when there's, people say, well, how do you differ from other people out there? My thing was really about empowering women, and it still is. I mean, this whole thing is, when you see the empowerment that certain women are showing, that if you're 50, you can do it, certain things, if you're 55. And what did we have last night? We had the Billboard awards, music awards, and you had Cher at the age of 71. And when she got up on stage and got her acceptance award, and, the hip hop guys and everybody were just like this, she goes, I really didn't have, that much talent, but I had mentors. I had people that believed in me, and I just kept hanging in there. And it's not listening to people to say you can't do it. So my thing is shift. And I keep coming back because I've had to do this. You have to shift your inner dialogue about this process. Otherwise, you give up.
No doubt. You should be an inspiration to watching. You know what I'm saying? I know even it's like I was saying, gosh, I keep up with my teenagers, right? At my age, I keep up with them, and in some aspects, I exceed them, right? And they're always telling their friends, right? It's like, you're an inspiration. You have been through the years. I mean, you were inspiration, when you're in your 30s, looking back, then the 40s, 50s. I mean, you're still that inspiration. And I don't call just anyone old on the show. You're the only one. Except myself, actually. And
I take it as an honor.
I call myself that. But you know what? I'm proud of it, though. What I can do, right? It's like, at my age, we are absolute, no doubt, exceptions. However, we don't need to be. I think that we inspire.
That's the point. We don't need to be. And I think that's the really good point. That's a really good point. The modeling of what is possible, but it's and things that we that you say you talk about all the time on the show, which I know we have discussions about. It's that fitness side and the different aspects of fitness. So it's the strength training, it's the cardiovascular training, it's the balance training, it's the the stretching.
That brings me to my question I really have. It's like, what's changed? When we look back, you've been in it from the beginning, right? You must see, I want to know what you're doing today. I know my viewers and listeners want to know what you're doing today, because, you've been through it all. You've done it all. You've tried it all. What's stuck, because you're amazing. You look amazing. You have full function. What are you doing now? What's changed?
Well, I think, I think in my very first, I think I was fortunate enough to early on to understand that it's strength, it's cardiovascular, it's cardio, and
Froze. Darn. Well, I'm sure she'll come back on here. She has a shaky internet. This is what happens when you live in Park City, by the way. You know, bad internet connection. So yeah, Meredith. I mean, right? I mean, she is an absolute amazing. I can't wait to actually hear what she's doing now, right? Because when I say what's stuck, meaning that you go through this evolution, and she automatically gravitates to what works. And what she's saying too is she does a lot of different things. I mean, it's like she'll do the yoga. She's out hiking. I mean, honestly, I see her mix it up. When we talk about diet variation, I'm telling you, I see Kathy. I always say, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like, you do so many different things, right? But I know that's part of her plan. I know that over the years, she's tried so many things, and I bet you, and you can even ask the question, but I bet you that she found the beauty in the variation, honestly. Just like as we study diets and so many people over the years, no doubt, I see Kathy doing a massive amount of variation in her exercise. So it'll be interesting. She's coming back on. I'll let you ask that, Mara.
All right, yeah. The variation, there is so much magic in it, and that is such a powerful concept that I think it's easier, when we think of that with exercise, but the diet piece of it is, sometimes even more powerful, and then when you bring it all together, it's even better.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, but it really, because why? We're forcing more adaptation the more we change things, right? If you do endurance every day, and then boom, I mean, it's like now all of a sudden you're doing this sport, that sport, this resistant. The body has to keep adapting. And through the adaptation, your body's becoming more hormone sensitive. It pumps up growth hormone. It does all of these hormonal changes really just in the attempt to adapt, and no different with exercise. I mean, even when I go to a different gym and change what machines I use, it's like, let alone completely different exercise, is massive. I mean, the next day I'm sore, forcing adaptation. So yeah. I thought she was jumping back on there, but I see she wasn't able to get on again.
Yeah. Well, I'm just curious how your routines for exercise have changed too. Even just, I know back in your bodybuilding days, that's been a major shift, but even just maybe more recently since learning more about the variation technique.
Yeah. I mean, I think I find even more beauty in doing things outside, just being in the mountains in nature. I always have a totally different component, a different feel. I want Kathy to talk about the mental component of exercise, because I think when we talk about anti-aging, it's oftentimes the thing that's, really overlooked, as far as the benefits of exercising. But I say that when you do stuff outside with groups of people, that effect even goes through the roof, even more. So, I'd be anxious to get her view on that. But, so yeah, I try to add in, more components of just, that type of thing. Skiing for me is huge. And you could just ski around, or when I ski, it's exercise. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm huffing. I can't breathe at the end. I'm saying you can make anything exercise. And of course, mountain biking, hiking, cross-country skiing. I mean, I literally mix it up, so many different movements. I like that type of thing. However, I still go in the gym and move weights. I still love resistive training. I think we've had enough guests on our show that talk about you don't even need weights, your own body when done correctly. These functional type movements. We had Kevin Rail, talk about that. We've had one of our last guests talk about it. So many, benefits from it. Kathy, we brought you back in. Your internet, that's the benefit of living in Park City. Our internet sucks.
That was a complete crash. So I was like, what is going on?
That's right. We kept the conversation going very easily.
I thought you were punishing me.
And we're talking about, just what's changed and what you're doing now, what's stuck, meaning like, what are you doing now? I mean, the experience you've gained of doing it all for, for so many years, we want to know, what are you doing now? And Meredith asked me the question.
Well, it's interesting because the three components of fitness that I talked about in my very first video, the cardio, the strengthening, and the stretching, I think my saving grace or whatever is I got into all three of them when I was in my early 20s. So I was running. I mentioned I had a boyfriend that was a football player, and I would go to the gym with him and we work on a Nautilus equipment, and then I would go to a yoga class. So believe it or not, I got exposed to all three of those disciplines very early on, and I would I would rotate them, and maybe emphasize one more than the other during different times. But in general, all of them have been a part of my life for this entire time. And all my videos, whenever I would do a video, I always had a great warm up, a really good cool down and stretch. I always had strength and I always had cardio. And so as much as, and those things have changed through the years. And because I've been involved with so many different approaches to strength training, kettlebells, there's, heavy weights, high rep overload. So, but I think the main thing is, especially for women, but for both men and women, is that over the age of 30, and you should start before that, but over the age of 30, you really got to strength train. And you really have to add that to have that component as part of your ritual. And the bias towards strength training, the bias to needing strength training goes up every decade. So because you're losing muscle mass and you lose it, it accelerates when you get into your 60s. You really got to make sure that you're maintaining that strength training. And for women that would ask me, and in the early days, they would go, well, I got my 3-pound dumbbells. I would tell them, your baby, when it comes out of you, weighs somewhere between 6 and 10 pounds. It progressively, it gains weight pretty quickly. So you're carrying around a 22-pound toddler, and yet you go to the gym and you're lifting 3 and 4 and 5 pound weights. So it's that idea not to be afraid of the weights. And I went this morning and, I might be doing my deadlifts with 90 and 100 pounds, and I'm doing and I'm doing bicep curls with 20-pound dumbbells. So it's making sure that you're giving enough overload. Now everybody's different. I'm not suggesting people do that, but everybody's different. But to be progressive and to not be afraid of weight training, because that's really I believe the fountain of youth, is maintain your muscle. As a matter of fact, I wrote a book on it called Feed Muscle, Shrink Fat, and it's all about how do you maintain everything in your body has to do with muscle, and maintaining that muscle is just so important. So number one, muscle. Then of course heart, and not just heart, but brain function, all the stuff that we're thinking about for cardiovascular, anything that any organ in your body, and you know this and talk about it better than anybody, needs blood flow. And if you don't have the blood flow going to your brain and to your liver, I was just at a convention in Denver for DaVita, which is kidney dialysis. And one of the reason why people have kidney problems is because of lack of circulation in your kidneys, and then the buildup of, and how you cannot then eliminate toxins in your body. So it's cardiovascular. How do you change that up? Well, through the years, I've gotten much more involved with HIIT training and really this high intensity for short bursts of time. And but I still alternate that. As much as we talk about that science-based stuff, I'm really into what nurtures your heart and soul, and what do you enjoy doing? I enjoy getting outside. I enjoy what I call green workouts. You're in the mountains, you're on the lakes, you're in the parks, you're outdoors. And those green workouts can be long, they can be slow, they can be whatever, but it's the idea of get out and all the wonderful things that happen when you're outdoors. And then the last component of this, which I think is honestly, if I had to rank them, I don't even know which is most important, but the yoga, the stretching / mindfulness. And on a daily basis, being able to practice some kind of breathing technique, and it can come when it's attached to movement. And, it could be a yoga, inhale and exhale. Inhale and or it can just be breath in a prayer, in a meditation, in a mindfulness. But it's the idea of how do you calm yourself down, and not once in a while, but how do you train that part of your body so that you calm your mind down and so that you can focus? Because that's what happens as another part of aging that we don't really talk about that much, is that, and except all the people that are over 50 and then especially over 60, it's like, oh, I can't remember things. Oh, I can't go and do that. I can't do that job anymore. I can't sit down and read a book anymore because I can't keep my mind focused. And those are the signs of aging that are really huge. Like you sit down to read a book and it's like your minds are, or the other thing that, there's comics about, comic little strips about this. Like you go to make your cup of bulletproof coffee in the morning, or for me, green tea. And, on the way to do that, you see something over here and you get distracted. And by the time you go to check the mail, you've forgotten what you even got up to do. And that's the type of stuff that really shows aging.
Yep.
And by the way, the yoga, the mindfulness, those type of things, that's where I think when you talk about sharpness, because that, to stay sharp, it's that, how do we deal with stress? And stress is what we have. I told my story earlier about losing my parents, and in my life I've gone through so many highs. I mean, I've had so much positive, and I'm so grateful for everything. And like everybody on this podcast, we all have things that we've had to deal with, whether it's divorce or illnesses or problems in business and whatever. And part of the knack of aging is how do you stay resilient? That's the word I love to use. I mean, resiliency is what keeps you in the game. And staying resilient with whatever happens on a daily basis has to do with what is your morning ritual, which I'd love to talk about, because it's how do you get up in the morning? What do you do when you first get up? What keeps those brain synapses going like this? What keeps the body and the posture and the balance? And what happens when I used to take martial arts, the whole thing is when something comes and pushes you, if you're stiff like this, then you're going to get knocked over. What happens is that, the whole idea of, fluidity and is about resilience. Something comes your way and you go, oh, okay, I'm back to normal. And when you start practicing it on a daily basis with the type of techniques we just talked about, it's amazing how you build this muscle. Now, last thing I'm gonna say, you have this bank account, and for whatever age you're at, you start to put in this bank account and it pays off. So it's one of the things, and that's why I say 30 years of yoga, 40 years of cardiovascular strength training forever. Yes. And does it change? Are we going in some days and, somebody's come up with a new way of doing cardio? Yes, but don't forget that it still falls in a basic category. And then the last thing I would, even though I said the last thing a few times now, that don't get injured. Don't injure yourself along the way. And the best way to do that is don't do stupid things. Don't jump into classes or fitness techniques just because they're popular if they're not right for your body.
Right.
And that, because once you blow out that shoulder in a class because you're lifting too heavy a weight or you're going too rapidly or something, you'll be dealing with that one. Or you blow out the back, you'll be dealing with that one as
the question is, what do you think of CrossFit? Because I've had so many friends injured from it, and it's a lot of what you're saying.
Yeah, I think, I kind of have a rule of thumb with, talking about different brands. I think I can say generally, and I'm sort of stating the obvious, that when you go into class formats, I'm a class format teacher, so I love class, I love the class, but we both know that it's not like having a one-on-one instructor. It's not like having a one-on-one trainer. You're one of 10, 20, 30. Nobody's got their eye on you every moment. So even though you might be learning proper technique, anytime, not a whole lot can go wrong if I'm teaching you a salsa step and we're doing a Zumba class. If you do the step wrong, you might look a little awkward, but that's the worst thing that's going to happen. you go into classes that deal with heavy weights and you're throwing heavy weights around, there's risks involved if you let your ego get involved. And people say, well, check your ego at the door. As we all know, easier said than done. If you're a guy and there's a woman next to you lifting, or another guy lifting something, you'll probably go up a little further. And what I've noticed, just for those, but I don't want to even say CrossFit. Listen, when Taibo started, tons of injuries. When yoga, tons of injuries from yoga. You're going, how can yoga give you injuries? It's so slow. It's like, no, when you're pushing people into these extreme back arches and you're saying things like, you can go a little further, and you have a picture of somebody doing a back bend like this, and that's your ideal. Somebody tries to do that and their back's not meant for it. I'm sure you've seen this, but I have seen through the years, chiropractors have said to me, oh my God, business has just gone up with, Taibo. Because Taibo, you're doing all these really quick movements. Here's the other thing, anytime you do repetitive movements and you start to get excited and you're doing them 3 to 4 days a week and you haven't done them before, what do you think is going to happen? And I think that's why I encourage people to start slowly. Like even with my videos, one of the first things I would always say, if it was a weight video, I would say, before you do this with weights, go through an entire video without weights. Make sure you know the moves. Make sure you know how you do a lunge before you do a lunge with weight. Make sure you know how to do a proper squat before you do a squat with weight.
Do you have videos now that people can purchase? Do you have like beginner videos? Like where can they purchase some of your stuff? Because we have a lot of beginners and a lot of advanced, I'm sure, watching.
Yeah. If they go to kathysmith.com, and it's Kathy with a K, and I have all the DVDs and everything there, and I have them categorized, and I have them, depending if they want, just everything we talked about: strength, mindfulness, stretching, cardio, and then the different categories. Some people like to get their cardio with boxing, and some people like to get it with jump roping, and some people like to get it with dancing. And so we have, and that's what's fun about it. And I encourage people to also to mix it up, because if there's other thing, the other thing I want to say, that through the years, one of the reasons for my kind of agility and everything is I think different disciplines bring something new to the equation. And when you have to learn something new, it's great for the body, but it's also great for the brain.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Meredith, I've hogged Kathy. I'm sure Meredith has some great questions.
Well, I think one thing that came to mind, Kathy, when you were kind of speaking before about the importance of mindset, I think a lot of us know that, but how do we break through? What are some kind of tools you use to kind of get over, maybe for some of our viewers who are older, like that they're too old for something, or even that someone's too young for something, or that they've had other issues where they can't do something? Like, what are some of your mindset tools you use?
Well, I think a couple different things. One of them is just, as far as getting into a positive mindset, is just it's practicing gratitude. So having a gratitude exercise I do in the morning, which is basically just picking 3 things I'm thankful for. And it's so funny. Am I looking down here, over here? I guess it doesn't matter where I'm looking. But I'm looking at Dan. So shifting mindset has to do with writing things down and changing. Like, for instance, let's just say you're going through a negative speak in your brain. It's really, for me, I have something called the stop sign method. And it's really, I just visualize. So if I hear myself go, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I'm not going to be good at that. I'll get up on stage and I'm going to flub up and I'm not going to be good. And then I just visualize a stop sign. I go, stop. And if nobody's around, I will say it out loud. I'll just go, stop. And then I'll go into 3 breaths, and I do something called the breathing listening technique. And the technique is just like this: you inhale for a count of 3 to 6. So like if I was going to do it now, I'd inhale. I'd get to the top of the inhale and I'd listen for a sound. I just heard a bird. And exhale. And then I would do that 4 more times. So I would inhale. Listen for a sound. I just heard an outdoors worker, and exhale. And then you name the sound. And that thing, by doing it 4 times, what happens, it brings you into the present. So most of us get hooked, get in trouble because we're thinking about the past, what happened and that didn't go right, or we're thinking about the future, what's not going to go right. And if we can just get very present, very here and now, it allows our brains enough time, it slows them down so that you can start to make more positive decisions. So it's the BLT, breathing listening technique, along with the stop technique if I have negative thought process going on, along with something just that is, a power move. And I've learned this from Anthony Robbins from one of his workshops. But, having that power move, and Tony's was always like, just have something like I would go on, when I was going to go on stage, I'd have a power move. And then, you go into the, and you practice your power move throughout the day so that, and it can be very subtle. It can be rubbing 2 fingers together like this. And I can be sitting here, and if I practice that little and set an intention with that move, then I know that throughout the day, if I'm feeling a bit insecure or something like that, and with this repetition, as silly as it sounds, after a week, 2 weeks, after 3 years, you go and do this, and all of a sudden you feel the power come up. But I also have to tell you, fitness and exercise brings you confidence. And one of the things I've learned through the years is that if you want to feel strong, when you go to the gym, I was so insecure when I started my first TV show. So I had a TV show on USA Network for 3 years. It was a morning show every morning. And when I would have to start hair and makeup at about 6:30 a.m. I had an hour drive to get there. It means I had to get up at 4:30 a.m. But I would actually get up earlier than that because I knew that I would have to go for a run because I had to get at least a 30 to 45-minute run in before I got there because that gave me my confidence. Without that, without those endorphins, without those chemicals, I thought I can't do it. And I would be driving, and the days I didn't do it, I'd be driving. I don't know how to do this. Nobody's taught me how to do this. And I would have all that negative speak. So that training myself to get up, put one foot in front of the other. And again, when a game changer for me was when I was running that marathon. I hit the Diamond Head in Hawaii on the 18th mile. And I had, in my book, when I wrote about this, I was, 24 something at the time. I had what I call an old codger who was like a 40-year-old at the time, run by me and say, don't think about the finish line. Just put one foot in front of the other. And for the next 6 miles, that's all I thought about. It's just like 1 foot and 1 foot. And if I thought about 6 miles, I would have given up. But that 1 foot in front of the other, was what I needed to just say, stay present, stay in the moment. And I use that for everything. When I was writing a book, how do you write a book? It seems like overwhelming, but not when you break it down into chapters and pages and you don't think about the finished book. It's just like, I need to get this 4 pages done and that for next 4 pages. And pretty soon you have the book. But if you think about the book, that's what stops us all. I can't write a book. I can't run a marathon. How could I run a marathon? Well, you can if you just start breaking it down into doable parts.
Yep,
anyway.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Did that give you some thoughts? I don't know if that's exactly what you were asking. But
that's the answer. That's absolutely the answer. People think that they just have to do this or be this. You start with little movements every day, and that becomes more and more and more. And I think that it transforms this. It does. No doubt. Exercise transforms the brain, the chemicals, your hormones. We talk a lot about that on the show. However, that's how your brain works. No doubt that's how your cells works, but these are cells too. And exercise, I tell you, you said something, and Meredith asked me the question while you were off. I said, Meredith, I find so much value now just getting outside and doing my exercise in any aspect. And I try to do so many different things. Being outside is such a mental component to it. being out in the sun. There's another physical component. Doing the exercise, then doing it with people. It's like it's remarkable when you put that all together. You add the physiological effects. You add the unseen, like what the effects you're getting from the sun, the negative ions from the trees, the mountains, the fresh air, and you put all that together. I'm telling you, it's transformative for your cells, your brain, your emotions. Yeah, I mean, we all struggle with negative emotions. We talk about trapped emotions, but exercise, I'm telling you, it's a huge, huge component to lifting depression and just how you think, how you perform. When I'm not exercising, it affects every aspect of my life, from relationships, to my business, podcast, whatever I'm doing, it affects, because you're right. You show up with the best you can be. So if that's not a reason to start exercising, even if it's 10 minutes a day, so go get Kathy's stuff, because I know you do a great job of bringing people to that, just walking them through, and getting them moving. And you do it correctly. Something transformed after 40 years. You want the right instruction, this gal has it. So give them your website.
So do we want to, okay. Do you want my, so getting back to your beginning of the podcast. So I am 65 years old, and and do you want the high kick, or let's just see, I don't know.
Come on, get it going. That's it.
Wait, hold on. Can you see me?
Yep. Look at her. She's like a little teenager.
One of the things that I've learned is that, let's just see. I didn't know I was going to be standing up. I'm glad that I have my little thing. Okay. So anyway, I don't know which way to go here. So which way you can see, so you don't get a complete crotch shot. So
yeah, it's fine. You're dressed appropriately. You're fine. You're fine.
Hold on. So it's, I don't know, but the thing is,
you're so, yeah. Of course, now our viewers are going, okay, she looks amazing. I mean, it's like,
I think the main thing is have fun with it, get up, dance, do your squats, and then, then do your planks, do your, on top of the, do your, your 5-minute plank. And I mean, it's just, mix it up, have fun. And,
hey, look, you sold 20 million copies of things for a reason, girl, I mean, just look at her. I mean, I'm telling you, you inspire me. I mean, you do, because it's like, I know that I'm going to be able to do what I do, and I'm going to keep doing it, at 80 years old. I am, because I've chosen it, no doubt. And I, like you, just a little bit every day.
I mentioned before we went on, before we were actually on air, that I just got back from Los Angeles, and I was at the USC School of Gerontology advisory board meeting. So a good friend of mine, Art Uline, was there. Art was the doctor on the Today Show. He's 81. He's climbing Kilimanjaro in 2 weeks, and invited me to go. I've climbed Kili, and I mean, that's the type of thing. There's so many fun people doing so many fun things this is why I kind of like got a little stuck on this thing, and I just want to encourage everybody out there, rethink. I did an article for the Washington Post, and they titled it "Age is Just a Number." Yeah. And it really is time for anybody in their 40s, 30s, you can still do whatever you want, but anybody in their 40s, to really start thinking about this, because once your hormones start shifting, once you get into this age mindset, it's really important to start. I'm a big one. Tony Robbins is big on this. Languaging is really important of what we tell our brains. Mm-hmm. And when we tell our brains, if there's terms used that I'm just around a lot of people that are using really great terms about aging, and as we start to see in the United States that happen, it's just remarkable. I mean, honestly, what I have people doing and what I'm seeing in New York and LA, across the country, and people in their mid-60s, in their 70s, and in their 80s, it is phenomenal. And I just, it's a bright future. And by the way, you hear this, but I'm telling you, I wrote a book, and there was a book, I was on the Oprah show with it, and it was called Moving Through Menopause. And I did a 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 menopause. And I did aging, there's some great things about aging. And what's so much fun about it is, I don't want to use a bad word or anything, but it's sort of like, you don't give you can be more yourself, you can be more authentic than you've ever been, because you really don't care what people think about you as much anymore. Your life isn't based on what everybody is thinking about you. You're based on what you want to do with your life, but at the same time, you have the knowledge, the intelligence, and if you make sure that you keep your body, and this is why I'm telling people in their 40s, think of it now. If you get to 65, and you have diabetes, if you're overweight, if you have aches and pains, then life gets pretty miserable. Absolutely. If you have the opposite, life is
amazing,
unbelievable.
Kathy, it's so funny you said that, because it's like, I'm proud of my age, and it's like the wisdom that I have now, right? It's like, man, if I have that wisdom with my physical health and my mind, come on. I mean, these are the world changers. We look at these kids with the computers. It's like, but I look at my children, I go, oh my God, it's like they just, they have no wisdom yet.
So
the fact is, like I said, wisdom, I mean, there's so many benefits, right? Cellular age is, look, we can't do anything about our actual age, right? That goes on, but, we can change our cellular age. Just because 65, 52, that doesn't mean anything, because our cellular age is so much less. So choose a different cellular age. We can't change our actual age. Who cares about that? Hey, the actual age says we have more wisdom. Exactly. But imagine when you get your cellular age, right? Yeah, I mean, imagine when you get your cellular. So the goal should be, let's have a nice number. Let's live to a big actual age, but let's keep our cellular age down here. That way we have wisdom, and we then can change the world, make a difference. So that's a huge deal. That's an awesome takeaway. I love that. So, all right, Meredith, I'll turn it over to you. I have to get on another show, but man, Kathy, thank you so much. I just love you so much, and we'll be. Hey, it's our time of year, right? We're gonna be.
I know. We'll be singing on the bike or on the hike. On the bike or on the hike.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you on the bike more. I'm gonna get you on that darn bike. So, all right, Meredith, I'm gonna turn it over to you. Otherwise, Kathy and I'll just keep on talking.
Thank you so much. Bye. It was so great.
Go to her website. Give them her website again, Meredith. Her website again.
So thanks again, Dr. Pompa. KathySmith.com if you want to check out all of Kathy's awesome materials. And thank you both so much for sharing your wisdom today. I know I'm inspired, and I know you've inspired all of our listeners and viewers out there to move more and to really focus on our mindset too. So yeah. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.